Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your patience. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome all of you to today's webinar on how converting from glass to PET packaging can unlock opportunities in a growing Indian market by Husky Technologies. Publish Industry India is a 16-year-old publication and a B2B media and branding company based in Pune, parent to two magazines, Automation and Digitization India and Efficient Manufacturing. Before we go ahead, I would like to quickly introduce our organizers of this webinar. As the largest brand name supplier of injection molding equipment and service to the plastic industry, Husky Technology comprises engineers, designers, innovators, material and software specialists, and most importantly, problem solvers. Team Husky includes more than 4,300 dedicated people worldwide who are focused on building success and profit for their customers and operate in over 140 countries. PET technology enables increased design flexibility and durability, and being 8 to 10 times lighter than glass drastically reduces transportation, material, and production costs. PET packaging makes your products more accessible and competitive, opening the doors to new market opportunities in India and abroad, while also enabling you to meet your sustainability goals. Join Husky today to learn how you can leverage PET packaging to stand out in the competitive Indian market. In the webinar today, they will touch upon pointers like the benefit of PET and why it is the material of choice for today's Indian producers, best practices for converting your existing glass packaging to PET, design possibilities and real-life success stories, and how working with Husky can enable a smooth and an efficient transition. Please note that we will be taking up a Q&A session at the end of the session. Please send in your questions on the chat box available as and when you need to, and our esteemed speakers will address them for you in detail at the end of the session. Let us quickly introduce the speaker who will hold the stage today. Philip Parubitz has been the Business Development Manager at Husky since January 2020. He joined Husky in 2006 as a part of the engineering team. Since then, he has held several progressive technical and management roles within the rigid packaging organization in Canada, Singapore, China, Thailand, and the UAE. Philip holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Waterloo in mechanical engineering. Please join me in welcoming Philip Parubitz, Business Development Manager, Husky Technology.
Thank you, Vida, for the introduction, and welcome to everybody for this presentation on how converting from glass to PET packaging can unlock opportunities in the growing India market. My name is Philip Parubitz, and I'm the General Manager for Business Development at Husky Technologies. Let's dive in. In today's presentation, we'll first talk about the enormous and phenomenal growth that we're seeing in the Indian market. We'll then talk about how PET can unlock new opportunities for your brands. We'll talk about the benefits of PET packaging. And then we'll talk about some of the success stories we're seeing with brand owners converting from other types of packaging materials, including glass, to PET packaging. And finally, we'll talk about how Husky can help you support on this transition. Let us begin with the enormous growth that we are seeing in the Indian market today. If we take a step back and take a look at the entire food and beverage market in India today, we're seeing phenomenal growth here. And we're seeing in the next couple of years to the year 2029, phenomenal growth looking forward with a CAGR of 11%. This is phenomenal growth that we're seeing here at Husky with our business, and we're also seeing with the consumption growth in India, with brand owners expanding their business. If you zoom in on the food and beverage market, specifically to the beverage market, here this year, we're seeing 18% growth year over year in the beverage market. I'd like to highlight one category, which is the packaged juice market. It is projected also in the next 3 years to grow a phenomenal 15% year over year. And here I'm talking about, in particular, the mango flavored juices like Fruity, Maza, and Slice. Here we're seeing a lot of growth, a lot of interest from consumers for these type of products. All in all, across all consumer packaged good categories, we're seeing a lot of growth in the India market, a lot of potential here, and a lot of opportunity for you as a brand to take share and to grow your business. And we're seeing many of those consumer packaged good companies, many of those brands, adopting PET as the material of choice for more of their brands across all of their applications. And the reason for this are clear. PET packaging enables three very important values for your business. The first value is higher top line revenue. And it does this by allowing for very standout packaging that stands out from the rest of the packaging on the shelf. And number two, the ability for your brand to quickly adapt your packaging portfolio based on evolving marketing strategy of your company. This is very difficult to do with other types of packaging material, but the adaptability and versatility of PET allows you to do just that. The second value that PET brings to your business, it allows you to lower your bottom line costs. And it does that with lower packaging costs. PET packaging is among the lowest cost packaging there is. Number two, PET is unbreakable. With less breakage, you have less product loss. And finally, the lightweight of PET packaging enables lower transportation costs. And the third and final value that PET packaging brings to your business is that it enables your brand to achieve your sustainability goals, with PET packaging exhibiting the lowest carbon footprint of all materials, especially if you used recycled PET packaging. And if you're going to deploy PET packaging, the most efficient and cost-effective way to do this is using two-step molding. Before we talk about these three values in more detail, it'll be helpful to understand in more detail what two-step molding looks like. And here we begin with PET resin. This is the raw material that is used to make your PET packaging. It could be made from virgin stock, or it could be made from recycled PET stock. In either case, this material is fed to the injection molding machine as an input, and from the injection molding machine, you get the preform. The preform goes into the filling line, and here it is first heated. It is then blown into the bottle. And this is why we call it a two-step process. First, you get the preform, and then afterwards, you get the PET bottle. And the advantage of a two-step approach is that this is the most effective and efficient way to produce PET bottles. And also, because you're separating out the preform production and the bottle production, you can achieve higher value or higher volumes at lower cost, and also allows you to conduct more lightweighting than in other ways of producing PET bottles. Returning to our three important values that PET helps to unlock. The first value is that PET helps to unlock opportunities in that they help you increase your brand equity and increase your top line sales. And the question becomes, how does it do that? Well, first, with PET packaging, you can create really unique and standout packaging of all shapes, of all sizes, and of all colors. And together with that unique PET packaging, you can also deploy a wide variety of different closure designs with different functionalities. And these could be metal closures or plastic closures, as we have illustrated here. Also, PET packaging enables squeezable bottles, which you cannot do with glass. And for many products, that could be very interesting and very valuable for the consumer. And also with PET packaging, you can enable greater brand recognition by designing very distinct bottle shapes that are uniquely tied to your brand. All of this helps to produce products that stand out on the shelf, become more competitive, and help you win market share. The second way PET helps to unlock opportunities is that it enables reduced bottom line costs. And this is achieved through the lowest cost of manufacturing, lightweight packaging for even further cost savings. And with this lightweight packaging, it reduces your transportation costs. Finally, PET is unbreakable, so you incur less product loss. PET packaging can be used with 100% recycled PET without sacrificing performance. And finally, with PET packaging, it enables the deepest and widest distribution in your market. So you can reach all markets in your country, whether it is a rural market, whether it is an urban market. PET is in the best position to be able to reach all consumers in the country. And finally, the third way that PET can help unlock opportunities is that it enables the most sustainable packaging for your brands. And when we talk about sustainability in packaging, it can be arguably understood in these four aspects. The first one is reduce virgin material consumption. And here I'm talking about using the least amount of material to produce your packaging. And what material you do use for your packaging, using recycled PET. So that means properly sorting the PET and recycling it, making it back to food grade, and reusing it again to make the bottle. And this here is the circular economy. The third way is the proper collection of the material, making sure it's not disposed of incorrectly, making sure it doesn't end up on the ground or, very importantly, in the rivers and oceans. And finally, when we talk about sustainability for packaging, we're talking about reducing greenhouse gases, i.e. the carbon footprint. And with all of this, 100% recycled PET, you achieve all of these aspects. And importantly, the lowest carbon footprint of all types of packaging. And for this reason, we're seeing a lot of companies, the entire industry, in fact, focused on recycled PET and how to properly incorporate it into your packaging. Here, let us take a closer look at the carbon footprint, the greenhouse gases between PET and glass packaging. When we take a look at these figures, it becomes abundantly clear that PET has a fraction of the carbon footprint of glass. And the carbon footprint benefits are even greater when you consider the transportation. When you're moving around glass bottles or other types of heavy containers, it takes a lot more fuel and a lot less space you have for those type of packaging than if you're to move around PET packaging. PET packaging is truly the most sustainable type of packaging available on the market. Now let us take a closer look at the many reasons why PET is the material choice of many consumer packaged good companies for the widest range of applications, whether it is home and personal care, beverages, liquid dairy, whether it's alcoholic beverages even, that segment is growing PET as well, pharma, et cetera, et cetera. We're seeing PET proliferate in all of these different consumer packaged goods segments. Firstly, as mentioned before, PET enables extraordinary design freedom that helps you create the winning portfolio of packaging for your brands and thus help you increase your top line revenue. Also, as mentioned before, PET packaging enables the lowest bottom line costs for your business. And these savings can be used either to increase your profitability of your business. Number two, you can pass on those savings to your consumers and thus win market share. Or, as we have seen, sometimes you do a combination of both, retain some profits and pass some of those savings to the consumers to win market share. This is enabled by using PET packaging. And even further cost savings can be achieved using lightweight packaging. In fact, PET enables the lightest weight packaging available in the market. And we at Husky have a lot of experience supporting our customers with identifying ways to lightweight PET packaging while respecting the package performance requirements of their packaging. And here, just allow me to call out this tethered closure, which is illustrated on the bottle. This is a new innovation that was maybe deployed in the last couple of years. We at Husky have a portfolio of these tethered closures. And I've seen many brand owners that are very interested in this solution, not just for the sustainability aspect of it. And here I'm talking about making sure that the tethered closure comes back with the bottle to the recycler. But there's another aspect that interests them for this tethered closure. And here I'm talking about counterfeit products. If you have a tethered closure on your product, no one else in the market can produce those tethered closures. So this is a great way to ensure that consumers understand that they're consuming products from your packaging, from your brand. So we're seeing some interest, actually quite in fact, a lot of interest from bottlers around the world for a tethered closure solution for this aspect, which we found quite interesting. PET also contributes to supply chain resiliency of your business. So here we have many Husky PET plastic converters are located everywhere in India, and they'll be happy to support you with PET preforms and bottles. If your production volumes are growing and you're interested in making your own packaging inputs, two-step molding offers a very low barrier to entry to produce your own packaging inputs, which is not feasible with many other types of packaging materials. And feeding into these injection molding systems, PET resin is also available everywhere in India and around the world. And this is how PET packaging can truly help you secure your supply chain. And PET is also one of the few packaging materials that can be fully recycled into a new food-grade package made from 100% recycled PET material. And by switching to PET today, you are future-proofing your packaging from potential future legislation mandating recycled content in your packaging. And as I understand in India, already EPR, or Extended Producer Responsibility legislation, have already been enacted in India. And this EPR in India stipulates that, number one, the recycling rate for rigid plastic packaging by the year 2026 needs to be 50%. By the year 2028 needs to be 80%. That means 80% of all plastic bottles or plastic packaging needs to be returned and accounted for. And also, secondly, the recycled content of all rigid plastic packaging needs to be 30% by the year 2026 and 40% by the year 2027. That means each new packaging by the year 2026 needs to include 30% recycled content. And these EPR guidelines are certainly achievable with PET, which is in fact the most recyclable plastic material in India. So it's the right material of choice for your brands and for your products if you want to abide by these EPR guidelines, which will be in force. In fact, India recycles an extraordinary 85 to 95%, or rather 85 to 90% of all PET in the country. And also in India, recently, there's a new and growing recycling industry, which is focused exclusively on producing food-grade recycled PET for food and beverage applications, since it was approved by the FSSAI back in 2022 recently. So we're seeing a burgeoning industry revolving around food-grade packaging, and we're seeing a slew of brand owners launching for the very first time in India 100% recycled PET, including many of the leading brand owners in the country. And finally, after we talk about the collection of PET and the recyclability of PET, it's very important to understand that PET can be continuously recycled from food grade package back to food grade package. And also, as demonstrated in India, it can be recycled to many other types of applications. The India PET recycling market is very dynamic, it's very active, and it's probably one of the largest in the world, if not the largest in the world today. PET truly enables the circular economy, and India is taking the global lead in this regard. Now, let us turn to some success stories that we're seeing brand owners succeeding when converting from glass to PET packaging. Let us explore some of those stories. Here we have medicinal syrups in 900 and 120 ml bottles. In this particular case, the company here was looking to reduce their costs. They're also looking to reduce the breakage. They were finding that a large number of the glass bottles were breaking, and they thought that PET packaging could help support that. And in fact, they were able to reduce a 27% reduction in the cost of their packaging. So it started off with a glass bottle with a ROPP neck and with aluminum cap, and they converted over to a PET packaging with a closure, with a plastic closure. And we at Husky support them with providing technical knowledge, package development, and also prototyping services. And ultimately, today now they're running their equipment to make these two bottles. Here we have another company another brand owner in the alcohol business. This particular example is for wine, but we can see it applied to all types of different alcohol products like liquors and whiskeys and etc. In this example, we have a 750 ml bottle, and the brand owner here was looking to reduce the weight substantially of their packaging. It starts around glasses around 400 grams, and it's being reduced to 52 grams in PET. In this particular example, they're using recycled PET, in fact, for this alcoholic product. And the advantage of using this PET packaging is manifold. Number one, it's much lighter, so it's much cheaper to ship. And number two, when you have glass packaging, the wall of your glass packaging is quite thick. When you're using PET packaging, it's actually quite a bit thinner. So you're able to stack more in a container or in a truck. So you're able to save that way. And also because PET is a lot stronger than glass, you can actually put the PET containers closer to each other. So in fact, you can actually pack around 2 times as many PET bottles as glass bottles in the truck. So this brand owner was looking for this type of value in their business. So they transitioned from glass to PET, and they had a successful product. And here's another great example of a brand owner converting from glass to PET packaging with edible oil. Here is another 750 ml bottle. This brand owner was looking for a premium look. So they were looking to make a luxury appearance that is easy to store, easy to carry, easy to reseal. On the other end, we're seeing a lot of brand owners looking for the move to PET to make very affordable packaging. For example, there's a 16-gram bottle for 900 ml, if you can believe that. It's like a water bottle for edible oil. So you can go both ways with PET packaging. It's very flexible. You can have luxury-like bottles, or you can have very commodity, low-cost packaging. In this particular example, the brand owner was looking to reduce their scrap. They have a lot of product being lost because of the breakage of the bottles. So by moving to PET, they're saving around 1.5 tons per year of product loss. And this is one of the benefits that they were seeking when moving to PET packaging. And finally, we're seeing dry foods, even like instant coffee being packaged in PET, and the weight reductions here are enormous. In this example here, we were able to achieve 90% weight reduction for this brand, for this 100-gram jar. And it doesn't apply just to dry foods. It applies to all foods in general, where typically the existing glass packaging can be quite heavy, prone to breakage, takes a lot of space. You have to be very careful to handle it in your distribution chain. With PET packaging, all of those concerns are radically reduced. They were looking for an unbreakable solution. That's what PET provided. And they're also advertising here that the sustainability aspect of PET packaging, with its much lower greenhouse gases carbon footprint, does support a more sustainable solution. So finally, if you are interested in launching your products in PET packaging, or even further developing your PET packaging from where it is today, or if you're interested in converting from glass to PET packaging, we welcome you to talk to us. There are many ways that Husky can help you, and let us explore some of those ways. Firstly, Husky has been in the business for over 70 years. We've been in the injection molding business for over 70 years. And 45 of those years was specific to PET packaging. So we were there since the beginning in the mid-1970s when PET packaging was being developed. And in that time, since the 1970s up until today, we have shipped over 5,000 machines across 140 countries for both making PET preforms and also making the closures for the complete packaging, covering all types of consumer packaged good applications. We know PET packaging, and we at Husky have the experience, we have the knowledge to support you. We can support you in providing market insights and trends. We can benchmark your packaging. We can offer preform design, preform optimization, preform lightweighting, and we can also support you in transitioning your packaging from whatever other material there is that you're using towards PET packaging. And finally, we can support with prototyping services. Stepping beyond our PET packaging design expertise, Husky can also support you with the industry most competitive injection molding machines for the manufacturing of PET preforms and beverage closures of all types. And this applies to both mid-volumes of production and also high volumes of production. And with all of these injection molding machines, Husky is now deploying a suite of system-level technologies to allow you to consistently produce recycled PET preforms up to 100%. Technologies we include in the drying system, technologies that we include in the injection system, technologies we incorporate in the hot runner, and also our tooling, and also beyond in terms of inspection and our services that we offer afterwards. Really, it's a full suite of technologies and services specifically to support rPET, which is now a burgeoning industry in India. And each of our systems, each of these new systems, whether they're producing PET preforms, for example, the next PET systems, the high PET systems, or producing closures like our high cap systems, comes equipped with our latest Advantage Plus Elite program. So what is Advantage Plus Elite? Advantage Plus Elite is a proactive and predictive monitoring service that helps identify risks and issues before they become real problems. All of the sensors in the machine, all the variables that are being collected as your machine dynamically runs is sent to Husky. We review those variables. We understand very clearly if there is a potential problem coming up. If we see a problem here, we will call you to proactively work with you to resolve those issues. So these could be in some ways, maybe we see a combination of variables that identify that there is a problem that can potentially come up, and we will call you and tell you, look, we see variable X, Y, Z. This indicates you might have a problem in A, B, C. This is the ways you should rectify that. This is a very popular service with our customer, in particular for our new customers who are new to injection molding and really need all the support that they can get. All of our machines now come equipped with Advantage Plus Elite. And if you take one further step back, our support for new customers all comes together with our recently introduced HiPick Complete. And here we're offering really, truly end-to-end support, starting from one end, package development, the Husky Academy training, where we ensure that all the people running the machines and operating the machines are very well knowledgeable to how to run those machines, and also comprehensive factory planning services, where we support you even in giving advice, the layout of your factory, the utilities of your factories, the best way to design your factory, all the type of support you need are surrounding your injection molding machine to make sure you run the most efficient operation. That's on one end. And on the other end, it runs up all the way to field support and Advantage Plus Elite. So we really, with Advantage Plus Elite and Husky Complete, we're really supporting our new customers run the best operation that they can. So if you're interested to learn more about how to convert from glass to PET, or you want to learn more about two-stage PET preform production, please, I welcome you to reach out to us at Husky, and we'll be happy to support you. And this concludes our presentation, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
It has been an invaluable session indeed. I believe our delegates have some questions for the speakers that they would like to address. Let's begin with the Q&A session where we can clarify all your questions. The first question we have, it says that how barriers and tactile properties of glass are met with PET.
Thank you for the good question. So there are 2 points here. We're talking about the barrier properties of PET versus glass, and then tactile properties. So let's first talk about the tactile properties. So what we're seeing customers who are transitioning from glass to PET, and they still want to keep the glass-like feeling of the packaging, what we're seeing them do is just simply increase the weight of the PET bottle. And in fact, if you put enough PET there, it actually is very sturdy bottle. The grip of the bottle is very strong, even PET form. And yet, despite the fact you're adding weight in the PET form, it's still significantly lighter than the glass bottle, even maybe 90% lighter than the glass bottle. For those customers who don't need to have an exact glass-like feeling, but they want something to have a more premium experience, they will add weight, but maybe not to the extent to have that real glass-like feeling. So you can add a reduced amount of PET to get that feeling that you want. There's even some additives out there that will give you the kind of that shiny glass appearance. So there are some of those suppliers out there who are advertising that capability. There are ways you can even shape the glass bottle. You can put for example, a champagne base, or you can even put a metal cork on top of the PET bottle for those companies who want the PET bottles to look like glass for any reason. Like for example, we're seeing beer bottles which are transitioned from glass to PET, and you could not tell the glass bottle next to the PET bottle side by side by looking at it, because they look exactly the same shine, the same base, the same neck, etc., etc. With regard to the barrier properties, so it's clear that glass has very good barrier properties, but you can actually augment PET to actually have good barrier properties as well. So one way to do that, of course, if you increase the weight of the PET, you will get higher barrier properties. But there are other solutions out there where you have coatings for your preforms to have actually very excellent shelf life if you actually coat the inside of the preforms, and there are OEMs out there who provide that type of technology. At Husky, we also provide a multi-layer solution where we put a barrier material inside the middle of the preform. So it is a 2-material, 3-layer preform that also increases the shelf life of the preform. So there are different ways you can actually increase the shelf life of your PET bottle according to what you need for your business. So hopefully that answers the question. Are there any other questions?
Yes. Our second question says that as long as I am converting, why not convert to cotton made from renewably sourced feedstock?
So here I would go back to some of the points I made in my presentation. So first of all, if you're looking at top line sales, a carton is a carton is a carton. If you go to the retail shelf and you take a look at it, all the cartons look the same. You can have some variability a little bit here in terms of the printing, but with PET, it gives you a lot of flexibility to make a really unique brand, a really unique shape that really identifies your product, and it helps increase your top line sales. PET is recognized for a more premium experience, a more premium look than you have with a carton product. So in terms of top line sales, I would say PET, converting to PET makes a lot of sense. And also bottom line costs. If you're thinking about the production cost of every milliliter that you're producing, you're packaging either in PET or Tetra Pak or any other type of carton, you will get the least amount of material using PET to package any type of product. So in terms of bottom line cost, you will not be able to get lower production cost than using PET. So for both of those reasons, I would say converting to PET is the right choice. And the last point, which is also important, is the topic of sustainability. If we're talking about recycling PET, and India knows this well, 85% to 90% of the PET that is consumed in India is recycled back into PET products. And the same cannot be said of many other types of material, including carton here. Carton often comes in multiple layers. You have the carton layer, and there are other layers in that package, which makes it very difficult to recycle it. So again, for top line revenue, for bottom line costs, and also for the topic of sustainability, PET is the best material that you can use for your packaging.
Right. We have another question that just came in that says how to improve color value and least black particle without additive in case of RPE.
Okay, so could you repeat the question? I'm not sure if I heard it properly.
Yes, it's how to improve color value and least black particle without additive in case of RPE.
Using recycled PET. Okay, so when you're using recycled PET, you will typically get some color variation. There's going to be some yellowing, there's going to be some graying effect. Typically, what most brand owners do, they'll add a little bit of a blue colorant to mask that colorant. So if the questionnaire is looking for a way to reduce the color without having additives, typically the only way you can actually reduce it is to make sure that you buy good quality recycled PET. Good quality recycled PET will often come with a spec sheet. That spec sheet will indicate what we call an L value and a B value, which indicates the kind of the color of that rPET. And good quality suppliers of rPET will have good quality color in your rPET, so you won't get that graying or that yellowing shifting. If, however, you are seeing that happening, then the solution often is adding a little bit of blue color there to improve it. Was there another aspect to that question? They're talking about the color and did they?
It was just the question just said that how to improve color value and least black particle without additive
The
in
black particles.
recycled PET.
Okay, so black particles is another important point of view, and if you add colorant to the rPET, the colorant itself can be a contributor to rPET. So there could be an argument made that reducing the amount of colorant, or at least minimizing it as much as possible, or using solid master batch for the colorant would be the best solution, because a liquid colorant could maybe contribute to a little bit more black specks. But also, it's from the equipment point of view, sizing the right injection unit, making sure the residence time of the resin inside the injection unit is minimized, because the longer the liquid melt stays inside the injection molding machine, the more black specks can be generated. So I would suggest using the right screw, sizing the right injection unit, having the right injection molding process will help minimize your the creation of black specks. So we at Husky, we have a lot of experience at this, so I invite you to reach out to us to get more information. Making sure that you have the right process in your operations. When you shut down the machine, when you start the machine, make sure you purge the machines properly. Make sure there's no rPET that's sitting inside the screw overnight. You want to make sure that all that rPET is purged out before you shut down the machine. Because if it stays there, it's going to cake on the screw, and you can create those black specks. So to summarize, there are operational things you can do to reduce the possibility of black specks. There are purging compounds you can use to clean out your rPET from the screw. There are equipment solutions that Husky can help you with to make sure we have the right screw, make sure you have the right size injection unit to minimize the risk of rPET, black specks in rPET. It's a long-winded answer. So.
Right. I think that is a very valuable answer that we got from you. Next question that we have, it is how to achieve transparency, gloss, and clarity of PET with respect to glass.
Okay, transparency, gloss. So I mentioned this before. One aspect is what we're seeing companies do. Actually, in fact, in the design of the bottle shape, they are designing the bottle in such a way that it does give that very glossy look. Now, PET by itself, the fact that PET is what we call a strain hardening material, that it actually becomes strain hardened as it stretches, it actually has a natural shine upon itself. This is why PET is a very favored type of plastic compared to other plastics, because it has this transparency, that glossy feel already inherent in the quality of the PET. But companies who want to further enhance it, they're enhancing it by the shape of the bottle. I know there are some additives out there, companies who are selling additives, like I mentioned before, that even enhances that effect even more. So there are solutions. If you take a look at some still water brands out in the market, the bottles look very glass-like. If that's what they're looking to do, it is possible to achieve.
Right. Our next question that we have is, can we use PET flasks directly after recycling in production?
So can we use PET
flasks directly after recycling in production?
Okay, so can we use PET after recycling directly into production? Oh, PET flakes. Okay. So we need to be very careful here on understanding PET flakes. There are two answers to this question. Sometimes you have, let's say, a person who's making PET preforms, and they're making some scrap in their operations, and they say, what do I do with this scrap preforms? Well, they can granulate it, which is a technical way of saying they can cut up the preforms, make flakes, and you can feed it back into your injection molding process. So this is, I would say, virgin flake, virgin preforms, never been used. You regranulate it, you put it back in your injection molding system up to, let's say, 5%, and you can use it. That's one answer to the question. The second answer to the question is, let's suppose these are post-consumer bottles that went into the market. Somebody consumed this bottle. And the question is, you take these bottles, they were sent to a recycler, maybe let's say in Kolkata or in Mumbai, and some recycler took these bottles, they granulated into PET flake, and can they be used into a next PET bottle? The answer is no. You need to have one more step. If you want to use your If you want to make food grade PET bottles, food grade recycled PET bottles, you need to make sure that you have food grade recycled PET pellets. Oftentimes these flakes, they're washed, but they're not decontaminated. So you need to have the additional step of decontamination, which often means that the flake will be put into a hopper. It will be exposed to heat and time. It'll become decontaminated, and often it will be put in an extruder and it'll become a pellet afterwards. So usually if you see PET flake, 99% of the time, it's probably not food grade. It's not decontaminated. There are technologies out in the market that do make food grade PET flake. Some OEMs out there do this. Today, most popular, if you see PET flake, it's probably not food grade. So you would need to ask the question whether you can use it to make your PET preforms. I would today look for I would today look for PET pellets and then make sure that they're they're food grade. Today, Husky, we can use 100% recycled PET pellet in a machine without if it's very good quality PET, we can do it. So what's the next question?
Yes, the next question it talks about the existing Husky machines in India. Can they use 100% rPET without any change?
This is just a point I was right. Okay, so if you have the answer to this question, if you have good quality recycled PET, we have customers who are using it up to 100% without changes in their equipment. That circumstance does exist. However, in some cases, the challenge here is that even if you get good quality recycled PET, you might from one day you get a good quality batch, and next day you'll get a batch which is not so good. And this is a function of the fact that the recyclers themselves are getting a different grade of quality of bales coming into their factories. So it's very difficult to control all aspects of the quality of recycled PET. And here I'm talking about contamination. You might have metal contamination, you might have volatile contamination, you might have other types of contamination. You might have some colorants. The IV of your rPET might have more variability than, for example, in virgin PET. The drying process could be slightly different for recycled PET compared to virgin PET. So you can try to run your rPET in the Husky injection molding machine as it is. However, what we're seeing sometimes customers need to change out the screw because they're having some challenges in mixing the rPET, especially if they add some colorant. So there are some screw changes you might want to consider. They have to sometimes make changes to the resin hopper, to the drying system in the process, and also sometimes retrofit their equipment. Sometimes you want to add a metal separator because sometimes the rPET might have some metal contamination. You want to separate it out. So Husky does have a suite of solutions that we can offer to upgrade existing Husky equipment to make it more robust in handling a wider range of recycled PET quality. And that's the key here because you're getting more variability in the incoming feedstock. So the question is, how can you manage that variability? So we have upgrades and process upgrades and technology upgrades that can allow you to handle that variability. And at the end of the line, there's also vision inspection systems that you can add to the end of the system that can monitor the preforms that are coming out. Because at the end of the day, more variability will also mean more variability coming out. So vision inspection could help in monitoring that. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yes. The next question that we have, it says, what about PET that has color? Can it be recycled back into packaging?
Technically, yes. So we do have examples around the world where even very dark colored recycled PET, and here I'm talking about black or red or dark blues, they have been recycled back into PET products, but it's understandable that those PET products also have to be colored themselves. The trend today around most brand owners around the world is to elect to use colorless bottles, or at least light blue or light green. I would say more light blue bottles. So If you do have recycled feedstock, has color, we do here. Let me pose an example that we do have in South America, where we have customers who are making dairy bottles, white, black, white, multi-layer dairy bottles, and they have a recycling operation which collects all the colored PET from the market, and they will make resin, black resin pellets. So whatever color it came in, they'll add black color. You make black resin pellets, and they use that black resin pellet inside the middle layer of this white, black, white multi-layer dairy bottle. And we have a similar type of solution in Europe as well. So it is possible to use colored PET. However, in most cases, we're seeing that most brand owners are for CSD and for white, we're seeing, I would say, a number of brand owners around the world are electing to go with colorless bottles or with light blue bottles.
Right. Our next question that we have, it says, does recycled PET have the same mechanical properties as virgin PET, and how many times can it be recycled?
So I answered this question a little bit before. Nominally, if you get good quality rPET resin from the market, you should get a spec sheet, and it'll indicate the crystallinity, it'll indicate the IV, it'll indicate the color, it'll indicate the AA and other properties. The nominal IV and some of the other properties nominally should be the same as virgin PET. The challenge is the variability. And here, this is where we see the difference between virgin PET and rPET PETs, that we just see more variability. So we're seeing that in the preform injection molding process, and we're seeing that in the blow molding process, that variability can increase challenges. And this is where processing support and specialized equipment solutions in the injection molding solution can help address some of that variability. So nominally, mechanical properties will be the same. We'll just see more variability in rPET than we have in PET. And that's, I guess, that's the core point, is that the rPET has more variability than PET across the board. With regard to the number of times it can be recycled multiple times. We're seeing customers who are recycling PET over and over and over again. So yes, PET is a material that can be recycled over and over again.
Right. Our next question says that I am surprised to see you say that PET is the lightest weight package. What about cartons?
So I answered this question a little bit before. When you compare milliliter for milliliter of product, the most efficient way to package that product is PET. Use the least amount of material when you use PET to package any milliliter of product in the market. So if you look across from the small pack size to large pack size, PET is the most efficient way to package your product. And this is why we can make the argument that PET is in fact the lightest material that there is, and it's also the most sustainable one. It is the material with that one material you're able to package a product and recycle it and continuously use it in a circular economy.
Right. I think our final question for today is, what is your opinion on bioplast, and how does it compare to PET in terms of performance and recyclability?
We are seeing in some constituencies around the world and some brand owners considering using bioplastics. So here, let me break down bioplastics in two groups. The first group are a bio-sourced PET. So it's still virgin PET, but they're made from renewably sourced materials. So for example, corn or other types of materials are used to make the base ingredients that are then used to make the PET. So this is biosourced PET. The end product is like virgin PET. It's just that instead of using non-renewable oil-based resources, you're using renewable resources. So this type of PET is exactly the same as virgin PET. It can be recycled just the same. When I also hear about bio-based plastics, another category is not PET, but these are other types of plastics, like PLA, for example. These are chemically different from PET. And the only challenge of using these other materials, so they have some benefits, but the main challenge of using these other materials is that if you mix these chemically different bottles, which look like PET bottles, together with PET bottles in the recycling process, it acts like a contaminant. So for example, one PLA bottle can contaminate 100 PET bottles. So we need to be very careful when we're collecting these other types of bio-based plastics, which are not PET, make sure it doesn't mix in together with the PET or needs to be in the recycling process. We need to make sure that we separate it out very decisively to make sure it doesn't contaminate the PET.
Right. Thank you so much, Philip, for sharing your valuable thoughts with us and for sharing your time with us today. With this, we have come to an end of our today's webinar. I would like to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this webinar session. Your presence has enriched the occasion. Thank you so much and have a nice.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.